This is Henry Frederick of Headline Surfer, and we're here today with Volusia County Chair Jason Davis. Jason, we're here in Port Orange on a beautiful Saturday, second day of Bike Week, and you're back from Washington, D.C.
Yep.
Tell us about your trip.
Well, it was cold. The snow was kind of a bust. It just fell. It was like wet rain, big, fluffy, wet rain. That's all it was. It was no sticking on the ground. Went through some county commissioners. We were having these meetings and talking around the country, from all over the country.
Now, were you the lone representative for Volusia County?
I was the Lone Ranger there, yes.
Were there anybody was Tonto there?
No, Tonto didn't show up.
I guess Tonto would be Jim Deneen, the county manager.
Okay.
What was the main focus of your trip? What were you trying to accomplish?
Well, up there we were there to open up dialogues between all the counties, and we were also there to open up dialogue between the county and the federal government. So I did get to meet with our representatives, DeSantis and Micah and their staff. Tried to get in to see our state senators, but unfortunately the snow came and they were worried they'd get snowed in.
U.S. senators.
Yeah, U.S. senators.
Yeah. So you weren't able to see Nelson and Marco Rubio?
No, I could not get to see them.
What was DeSantis' message?
He was very positive. Went up there about some funding for Sunrail and some options that we have for Sunrail. They were very positive. They said, you have our blessing, go right ahead.
So do you feel good about getting some relief in terms of Sunrail funding, or is it still on the fence?
No, I feel really good. We've got some new avenues opened up, some new ideas that I have to work with our rail commission, work with county council members, the mayors, the locals, and next week on the 18th, I'll be going to Tallahassee to talk to the governor and the assistant and the lieutenant governor and our state representatives up there and senators. So got to get everybody on board. Once we get on board, then the whole show's coming out, and everybody's going to understand what we're trying to accomplish.
Now, I'll be up there on March 20th with the chamber delegation. Right. Will you be there for that, or will you be back by then?
No, I'll be there till about noon, and then I got to come back on the 20th. I have to run a county council the next morning. So, Friday, coming back from Washington on Thursday night? Yeah.
And how long were you up in Washington?
I was up there for almost a week. Well, yeah.
Now, was this a national conference or just Florida?
Yeah. No, it was a national conference. I met people from Wyoming and Texas and Hawaii and Alaska, all over the country. So
any common denominators in terms of funding issues?
No, everybody's each area has their own different issue. Yeah.
So, on Friday when you came back, yesterday Friday when you came back, you had a county council workshop about the ad authority study, the so-called study in terms of what to do with the future of the ad authorities. Any ground broken on that, or is that? It seemed like a big day-long discussion again.
We've got it's a big long discussion. We've had some debate about it during the workshop, and there were some decisions that I made to myself. This is where I want to go, this is where I see us going, this is what I'd like to see. There's still a couple of big issues out there that we're going to have to sit down and hammer out to make sure that works.
Seems like the most controversial part of this workshop was where the Ocean Center stands with the three ad authorities.
Yeah.
Should there be three ad authorities plus the Ocean Center? Should they be blended together in terms of sharing services? I guess these are some kinks you still need to work out.
Yeah, we got to work those out. Anytime you can, bring a group together and consolidate the funding, and they can all work together. Let's say use the same website. They just put their own information on it, and everybody links to everybody else, and it's all in one place. That saves money, and that's what I'm about, saving the money. If we can throw the Ocean Center on board with that, we can save more money. And if everybody works together to sell the Ocean Center as well as tourism, it's a win-win-win. So, getting everybody to try to work together is going to be the hardest thing.
Well, you have the talent. You've got Jeff Hentz of the CVB board,
right,
the Halifax Advertising Authority, and of course you have Tim Hamby from the Southeast Volusia Ad Authority.
Right.
2 hires within the last year. How's that progressing in terms of working relationships?
Well, they're working very well together. As a matter of fact, right after we had our first meeting, I brought all the directors together and Jeffrey Hentz and Don Poor from the Ocean Center. We all sat down and I said, look, we got to fix this thing. It's broken. I don't care how it got broke. Just fix it. How are we going to start? And the conversation began, and we actually accomplished a lot in that little meeting just with the 6 of us, to the point where the CVB says, hey, you know what? These guys on the west side have got some great ideas. I want to work with them, as well as working with the Ocean Center, as well as work with the Hot Board. So I think now we're starting to get a little across the Palmetto curtain, shall we say, cooperation. It's starting to work out.
There weren't any, other than Hens from the CVB board and some board members, there wasn't anybody from the city of Daytona Beach. There wasn't anybody from the city of New Smyrna Beach. There wasn't anybody from the city of DeLand. Does it trouble you any that there isn't that the municipal level seems to be a big disconnect?
No.
Yet they're right there for the CRA funding?
Well, it's like this this particular issue really doesn't, it has something to do with all the cities, but they really don't have any, shall we say, hands-on kind of thing. It's all dealt with our ad agencies. So I was not upset in any way, shape, or form. They weren't there. If they, from what I understand, I'll be discussing matters with all the mayors on Monday. I have a luncheon with them, and I have a feeling I know where we're going to go with that too. So that's.
But I'm just amazed at how, when it comes to the CRA, there's this just giant flock. But when it comes to the tourism, which I would think would be the bread and butter of these communities, just that, and I think that was brought up with a lot of intensity Friday, the resentment that there isn't that partnership there.
Right. Well, I mean, it's there.
Is that something you need to work on?
Yeah, it's something we need to work on. It's like this, you want CRA money, well, that's just money from the taxpayer, and of course we already made our decisions on that in our last meeting. This is tourism. This is the big generator of economy we have.
And here we are, Bike Week.
Here we are, Bike Week.
Here
the bikes going everywhere.
I would think more than ever the tourism issue, the ad authority the bed tax monies are extremely important to the lifeline of this county.
Yeah, well, it's not only just the bed tax money. I mean, the bed tax money just pays for the advertising authorities and the Ocean Center. It's the other economy, the other monies that go into the local economy. Yes, they're staying in a hotel, but they're also having dinner.
Right.
They're going to the local venues for entertainment, shall we say. They're going to, buy gasoline.
Well, that's my whole
point.
They're buying
T-shirts. They're buying
But that's my whole
support.
point. These municipalities, they're talking on both sides of the arena. They're saying we want economic development, and yet when there's a frank discussion about how to improve,
they're not there.
They're not there. So I would think that's something you really need to try to get organized.
I think I will be addressing that particular issue Monday at our luncheon. See, it's just it's going to be me, the county manager, and all the mayors and their city managers that want to show up. And that's going to be one of my points. You knew we were having this meeting. This is about economic development. Our industry is tourism. You weren't there. I don't care why. You just weren't there. So don't, with that discussion over, we'll go on to it.
Let me ask you something very quickly, though. There's a lot of discussion, too, about partnerships. Dan Fenton, the consultant with the Ad Authority, talked about chambers of commerce. Of course, there's been a change in leadership at the Daytona Regional Chamber of Commerce. Larry McKinney is out,
right.
Whatever the circumstances. In New Smyrna Beach, they're struggling just to get by. They asked the Ad Authority for $40,000. They got $10,000. Again, economic development, partnerships, it just seems like spin around in circles.
Well, let me just make this point. I'm not in favor of any governmental department or agency, or the county government in any way, shape, or form, supporting a nonprofit organization that's supposed to be supporting itself. For every $1 we put into their pockets, I need to get an $18.20 return. Otherwise, I don't get my money back. So this giving away of money is against my better judgment. They're a nonprofit. They need to be dealing with they're the Chamber of Commerce. Hey, you create the commerce. You need to work within yourselves. And you don't need to be so dependent on county government. We're having a hard time too. So I mean, it's hard times. So everybody needs to buck up, be a little more responsible for themselves, and get their job done and support themselves. I mean, that's what the county has to do. I'm cutting budgets. I'm cutting back on stuff that we don't need. They need to cut back, and they need to really look at their budget and balance their budgets.
Let me ask you this. One of the issues is, I know talking to the Teamsters, They're coming up for renewal of contracts. Everybody wants a raise. It's going to be tough in taking care of like law enforcement and public safety when you have all these other demands like CRAs and Sunrail and how do you?
It's a juggling act. It really is. You know, we got to.
You get more comfortable now. I know this. You're within third month now on the job.
Yeah, 68 days. 68 days. Not that I'm counting yet. Yeah, I'm getting a little more comfortable with the way systems are going. I know whose feathers to ruffle so I can get things done. Make it happen.
Well, speaking of ruffling feathers, the publisher of the News Journal, Ron Wallace, is now gone. I guess he didn't last very long. How's it going in terms of your relationship with them? Of course, they bashed you again a couple weeks ago.
What they do?
A Facebook account.
Oh, I didn't even notice. It's like people are going to do what they're going to do. Okay, they
just can't accept the fact that you won by 20,000 plus.
Yeah, they may have a problem with that, and that's I'm sorry, but the people spoke, and I represent the people, all the people. And if I got upset every time somebody wrote something a little off color or weird or out there in the extreme left or right of what's going on, I'd be upset all the time. So to me it's no harm, no foul. You want to write about me closing my Facebook account and you think that's front page news, rock on. You go ahead. I'm here.
And they were critical of you, of course, so you went and spoke to some committee about
the PLDRC
for Cabbage Patch for the renewal, for the permit renewal for coleslaw wrestling in the tents and that kind of thing.
Well, yeah.
There's a little bit of controversy. Tell us about that.
Well, what was going on was they were having a problem getting their permitting that they've been getting for the past 40 years that they've been there. And I just stood up for them as a citizen. I wasn't there as a council chair or a member or anybody of the government. I was just there as a person. I'm a biker.
Now, you told me that one of the things the News Journal didn't point out was that when you went to see a private attorney for consulting about this,
right,
that it was made clear to you that, and you made it clear to them, that if it came before the board for the council, you would recuse yourself.
Yes.
But obviously this is pretty much a rubber stamp kind of thing.
Well,
anyway.
it wasn't a rubber stamp. It's the same thing that everybody goes through, but instead of having to go through it every 5 years, for some unknown reason, the Cabbage Patch has to go through it every 2 years.
But was there really any doubt of...
No, there was no doubt that this was not
taking away something that draws 20,000, 30,000 bikers?
They were getting a little bit of a hassle, a little bit of a kickback, and the reason why I stood up for the PLDRC is because there was nobody else that was able to. Believe it or not, everybody else has a job.
I think that's one of the problems with government. PLDRC, what does that even mean?
And it's really what they are. They're the group that says, okay, you want to put up a fence, but you want to put it up over here, which is against code. They discuss it, and they say, yes, you can. Versus having to come to the county council every day.
And lastly, of course, during Speed Weeks, there was a big press conference and announcement that Daytona International Speedway was going to be seeking approval from NASCAR, as actual body, for $250 million investment in expanding and remodeling and upgrading the speedway. It's built in 1959. Like it looks like 1959 with the erector set look.
Yeah, well, they're fixing it.
And they're talking about putting 10 football fields worth of restaurants in there and escalators, and it was real fancy stuff.
And that's on the E-Zone across the street. Yeah. Very well right now.
You support that?
I support anything for economic
legislature incentives that would come back with a tax cut on that for them?
Well, more like a tax rebate on it. That would be up for the state to handle, and I don't think they're going to ask my opinion on it. But anything, if it could generate more money and a better economic development in that particular area, hey, I'm all for economic development. I mean, I want to see businesses thrive. I want to see revenue generated, because when they generate more revenue, because we generate more revenue as a locality. So, yeah, I would support it. I haven't gotten the final numbers back on it yet to see what exactly is going to be in black and white, because for me, when it comes to government, if it's not written on a piece of paper, it doesn't exist.
Now that we've discussed all these myriad issues, we're hoping that we'll have you back, preferably in Daytona and maybe on Main Street or up in Ormond at Destination Daytona, somewhere where there's biker action.
Biker action on my Harley with my leather vest, my boots on, my hair in the wind and all that. Yes, I'll be there.
Well, for Jason Davis, the Volusia County Chair, just back from Washington, everyday kind of guy, This is Henry Frederick of Headline Surfer, and we hope that you enjoy Bike Week.